This is Dr. Chris's Radio Horror program here in WCW. If you're not listening to us during this broadcast of a recorded interview, hopefully you can check it out on the Radio Horror YouTube channel, where you can check out a slideshow of our lovely guest, Tristan Risk, discussing her career and everything else that she's worked on, and some unusual things, including one of my favorite horror movies of the last 20 years, American Mary. Thank you for coming on the show with us, Tristan.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are a snake, reptile, priestess, director, actor, enthusiast, dancer, model, just all around kind of like incredibly sexy goddess too.
I wear a lot of hats.
You wear a lot of hats. The sexy goddess comments come from, if you have not seen her on Twitter, definitely go and check her out, as well as her website, because you will see what I'm talking about. Fantastic with the snakes and the stuff like that. Do you also fire dance?
I do.
Ooh,
I do.
Cool. Good luck with that, because that just always looks dangerous to me.
Well, it is dangerous. That's part of the fun. Risk by name and risk by reputation.
But you're also a writer and an artist, too. Drawing artist. Painting, drawing artist. I mean, artist comes in many forms, but I mean painting and drawing artist, too.
I've been lucky to have a lot of disciplines at my disposal.
But the after I asked you to come on the show, the one thing I found out about was that, you know, when I saw, oh, that's right, she's a writer, director, and actor as well. What has she done? I found out you were in one of my favorite movies, American Mary, which is fantastic.
So obviously Beatrice is your favorite character, right?
Right. But anyone who's not seen American Mary, go into a little bit of detail of what you did in the film. This is the film by the twin sisters of horror, the Soska sisters.
Right. So I play a surgically altered stripper who's had 17 different surgeries to resemble Betty Boop.
Yes. That is scary.
Betty Boop is kind of like, you know, like inspiration, but Beatrice is very much her own kind of girl.
Very creepy.
Yeah. So I play a surgically altered stripper. The film centers around extreme body modification.
Extreme.
It was very extreme. Well, I mean, I laugh because my partner, Burns the Dragon, is a body modification enthusiast and, in fact, has many extreme body modifications himself, including, like, 3D horns implanted, his eyes have been tattooed purple twice, his tongue is split and tattooed. He has pointed and cropped ears, and he beat the Guinness World Records for the longest tattoo session at 52 hours. So, like, I don't know if it was life imitating art or art just kind of attracting like, but yeah, so I mean, I kind of wound up being involved in that scene a little bit more than I fully expected to, but yeah, it's a thing.
And also a film that I absolutely love, Frankenstein Created Bikers. That's so silly and fun.
Oh, I mean, for anybody who likes the classic grindhouse kind of films, that is kind of like the 2-hour epic. It's got all the kind of genres wrapped into one within the grindhouse, and I had so much fun making that. That Atlanta crew is phenomenal. So much more that, like, they actually made a second film called Amazon Hotbox, and it has a lot of the same cast that came back for that one. And that was so fucking fun. Right. It's spelled EFF, not just FU.
That's fine. Just going forward, we can't because we are going to have to broadcast this.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I should have told you ahead of time. What's also funny is that you, so everything you've ever worked on in entertainment, media, Hollywood, movies, television show stuff, we have one connection between the two of us. Do you know what it is?
What is our connection?
You played Alice Marsh in a short film opposite Detective Olmsted, played by Diana Porter. Diana Porter, I have been in one of her films, was in her short character. What's the thing where you create like a thing that you're just shopping around to people to show you how good of an actor you are? What's that called?
Oh, like a demo reel?
Thank you. I was in her demo reel being chewed out over contraceptives at a high school playing a principal, and I gave the best eyeball reaction ever, having been grounded into paste by her. Diana Porter, and Diana Porter is Vlada Dracula in Vlada, a Dracula Tale, the audiobook.
That's fantastic.
Which is my graphic novel where we gender swap the cast of Dracula.
It's a small world. I like that. I like how small the world is sometimes. So
Yes.
it behooves us.
Yes, so I wanted to point that out. It was like, no, you live on the other side of planet Earth, 16 hours away, or whatever the time zone is. But that's funny. We have that connection, that Diana Porter, who lives in my backyard in Massachusetts. Literally, like the town. By that I mean the fact that I live in one town. She lives in the town right behind me.
She's one of those, like, triple threats, too. She kind of, like, does it all as well, which is really impressive to me.
Yes, and I've gotten to know her husband, Tim, as well, who's a fantastic individual, too.
Yeah, more good people in the world.
Definitely. But you've also incorporated a lot of your snake love and ability into your film and your work and your art as well, besides the fact of, being involved with a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world, correct?
Yeah, I mean, here and there and everywhere, right? And I mean, rule with an iron fist velvet glove.
Yes. Can you imagine if, like, Cobra, who wanted to rule the world, however means necessary, was just like, join Cobra, we are pro-choice! Everyone would be like, but they want to rule the world.
The Catholic Church managed to get people on board with, like, wine and wafers. So it's like, our church has beer and biscuits. Come join us. Build the church here.
I just want someone to write that story where, like, G.I. Joe, the real American hero, determined military force that will recruit anyone, no matter their race or creed or sexual orientation, because the current G.I. Joe comic books have opened themselves up very well. Thank you, Larry Hama. But they represent a country that is the opposite of what Cobra is preaching for women to join Cobra.
Yeah. It's just like, G.I. Joe, you guys are good. What you're defending, we gotta talk about. Mm-hmm.
I just want someone to write that story. I just want that story written.
All of a sudden, dude's like, hey, wait a minute, you guys aren't good. You guys are repressing people. Aren't we supposed to be, like, against repressing people?
Where did you get your love of, like, snake, like this whole, what came first, the acting or the snake love, the dancing, the modeling?
Oh man, I've loved all animals. I particularly was fond of snakes for a long time, and then I had my first snake, a corn snake, with my old roommate Lola Frost. And when we moved out of our place and separated ways, she took Nacho, the corn snake, and I didn't have a pet for a couple of years until I started dating Burns, and he went away on tour, and I took care of his two snakes. And when he came home, I had gotten two snakes of my own because I was just so enraptured with them that it turned into a thing. And then, 4 snakes became 6. And currently in our collection, we've got several varieties of boa, 1 python, and a black roughneck monitor lizard. And these all live in Vancouver, BC. In fact, Jub Jub, our roughneck monitor, has had a recurring role on the WC series of Supergirl. I haven't had a recurring role on Supergirl, but Jub Jub has had a recurring role on Supergirl. So I'm so fine with being the pushy stage mom for a reptile. Like, I am totally fine with that.
What episode of Supergirl was it? Because I watched it up until COVID killed the season that was on, the Leviathan, and I just... Full disclosure, I absolutely love Supergirl. I was all behind it, 100% supportive of it. However, when they did the Captain Liberty season, I lost it. I love that actor. I loved that character in the comic book. I thought Supergirl took a turn for in ways that were alienating to a lot of things. And I was just, I lost my mind on social media a lot over it. I am 100% supportive of, I don't know the actress name, but she was in a vampire movie, lesbian vampire movie, Bite.
Oh, yeah.
The transgender girl who does the dreamy powers. So, love her. Not a big fan of her character. But love her in the vampire movie. Superman and Lois seems to be staying away from every problem the CW has had with all their shows. And I love that.
Maybe they've learned from their past mistakes.
I think it's because Superman, Lois, and Stargirl are made by HBO Max and not the CW.
Again, learning from other people's stumbles and falls. You learn to avoid where those little tripwires are.
Right, and Superman, Lois tackles every subject that you could possibly imagine raising teenagers today in the 2022. And it is beautifully well written as a father of a teenager. I'm like, I get it, Superman. You parent those children. I get it, Lois. You get pissed at your kid for doing drugs. I get it. Being bisexual is new and open. Totally do it. Don't cheat on your boyfriend. Tell him what happened. What episode of Supergirl was it?
I do not remember because I've never watched the series per se. I do know that his role is as Spike the Dragon in his Earth form.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you something. When I found out there was dragons in Supergirl, I'm like, okay, I can get down with this. I can pick up what they're putting down. That's cool. But I've never actually, I don't have cable, so I haven't really watched a lot of shows. I just, only in the last few years got Netflix, so I'm like, everyone's like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? I'm like, no, but I remember them filming all of this right outside my house in New Westminster, because apparently, the 3-block radius that was, right in front of my house when I was living there was, all of San Francisco and all of the WC movie shows. So it just, you look out and you're like, oh, yeah, and it's, parts of Sabrina and stuff all filmed there. So it's I've seen a lot of the production. I have not seen the final pieces of those productions.
Where did you pick up your art craft from? How did that begin? In school, very young?
I went to a specialty high school called Langley Fine Arts out in Fort Langley in British Columbia, and they focus on different art disciplines for kids, visual arts, dancing, music, photography, and that was when I was there. I'm sure they've expanded into digital arts and the things that are a little bit more modern. So it's kind of where I developed a lot of my techniques, but I've always kind of liked being one of those weird kids that had a sketchbook or, Fimo and was making little creatures. When I was 10 years old, I used to make Fimo dragons and sell them at the local coffee shop for $5-10 each. And then when we were in lockdown, in the first lockdown of 2020, and I basically was watching all of my best laid plans for films that we'd been working on or planning on crumble, and I couldn't perform, and I was stuck inside. My partner started a YouTube channel, and I started making these little weird art doll things, and it just kind of turned into a thing that now I'm this is the balm from my soul when I can't handle stuff, as I go back to my original roots with making visual art. And I found it to be really, really relaxing because it's you can't perform all the time and I can't be making films all the time. So this is just something I can do on my own by myself. And that's really, really nice.
The artwork for Innsmouth, is that you?
Which artwork are you referring to?
Long black hair, the black dress with the medallion, you're holding a cup.
Oh, that's me.
That is you. Okay. It's got your sleight of eye. Your eyes have this kind of look to them.
I used to have much longer hair for a very long time. I had long dark hair almost down to my butt up until about 2018 when I chopped it all off because I got tired of it.
I hear that.
But I used to do hair hang in our circus, so I'd braid my hair around a ring and then they'd lift me up. And honestly, I would have liked to have really gotten better at juggling, so I could have done club juggling while I was up there. But I mostly just did feather fan stuff, so it wasn't super interesting. But once I came down, it was ta-da! I just had my scalp separate from my skull. Ta-da! Yakety schmackety.
But now your IMDb photo makes you look I want to say, what was the movie about the gods? It was on Netflix. Was it Charlize Theron in that movie? There's going to be more of them.
About the gods.
It's about gods. It's people, they're fighting, it's modern day, but they're all former gods. If they die, they'll get resurrected. It's based on a comic book. God, what is that new movie called? There's a character in it. I think it's Charlize Theron's character. Your IMDb photo looks like her, yeah.
Oh, neat. I haven't actually been on my IMDb in a year or so, so I'll have to go check it out and see what photos floating up there.
It's the short hair one.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
you got short hair.
Updating.
Yeah, you have short hair on. Also, off the air, and we are now running out of the Zoom time, so this will be quick. You were telling me you are a professional sword swallower. I've seen that in person, in front of my face, one time. In Salem, Massachusetts, we have this lovely thing called the Vampire Ball, hosted by the Endless Nights crew. and I saw a woman swallow a sword, swallow a flaming sword, swallow what looked like a lightsaber, and you could see it up until it disappears past her collarbone, like her throat lit up. The weirdest thing I'd experienced I'd ever seen in my entire life in front of my face.
There is a fantastic clown that I toured with called Jelly Boy the Clown, who has a Tesla coil, and he sword swallows a neon tube and leans over and gets the Tesla coil to light up the neon tube inside his body. And it is hands down the most impressive swallow I've ever seen.
That's fantastic.
It is. I'm always impressed by that. I'm always like, yep. I still barf when I pull my sword out, so golf clap.
Recovering from COVID, I don't want to put anything down my throat right now.
That's totally fair.
It sounds like it would be incredibly painful for me.
I don't doubt that it would be. It certainly would be an irritant at this point.
What are you working on coming up for any projects and things that you want to plug before we let you go?
I have taken my short film Reptile House, which is my second short film as a writer-director, and it is going to the Frontiers Market in Montreal, so hopefully we can get some funding to make it into a feature film, and I can expand upon my original monster, Thena. And I am also working at getting a feature film written by Dana Hammer called Mammoth off the ground, and to hopefully shoot it here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, in probably 2023 or 24.
Oh, fantastic. You look like you have a full plate. Are you, so you're up in Canada. Or you're up in...
Oh, I'm not in Canada.
You're not in Canada. You're Canadian.
I'm Canadian, but I live in New Zealand.
Okay, so you live in New Zealand. Do you have any United States appearances coming up, or is that a little bit too far at the moment?
Oh, I don't think I'm coming back to the States for a while. Not for any reason other than, like, I'm not looking at bookings and just, like, everything seems like it's going towards a civil war in your way. So I'm just going to, like, sit here in my little South Pacific bolt hole and see how this all plays out.
I have no idea what you're talking about whatsoever. I live in the northern states, and we seem to be perfectly fine up here. We just have to deal with the rest of the country. It's kind of like our governor said in 2016 when certain things in politics started happening, was that we can't stay in our little corner of the country. We all have to work together.
Yep, that's absolutely true. But at this point, I don't have any plans to come to any events or anything. Although if I was to come to a few of the events, I'd love to do Texas Frightmare and potentially Monsterpalooza and have a booth in Artist Alley to have, like, my artwork on display and for sale for any interested parties. But we'll see. We'll see closer to those dates. A lot can change in the next 12 months.
True. And you should also come up to Salem, Massachusetts in October.
I mean, Salem in October is kind of the dream, right? Like having, like, Halloween, there's the Salem Film Fest,
right.
And there's all kinds of good stuff, and there's a lot of good people up your way.
Yeah, and there's that one of the next Vampire Ball I told you about is in August. Is it one's in a little smaller one's in August, a bigger one's October 1st. So they get it out of the way before the month gets nuts.
There in October.
What?
Quite the party you guys got going on in October, all 31 of those days.
Right. They're smart, though. They get it out at the very beginning of the month.
Yeah, and before everybody shoots their wad by the time the 31st rolls around.
Right. And I was a guest at a comic book store last Halloween in Salem, and we got into the city very early. And I turned my head left. Everything was fine. But I did not want to turn my head to the right and look out at Essex Street, which is the big street that everything gets nuts in for Salem, because I was just afraid. I was like, all the COVID everywhere with people walking around near each other. Thankfully, our store was, you put your mask on before you come to the store. Our table had, everyone was wearing masks. So, and I did not get COVID. I did not get COVID for 2.5 years until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's just going to be one of those things that I think we're going to have to live with. I mean, we're all as vaccinated as those of us who want to be vaccinated are going to get. And from this point in, it's like, well, I mean, good luck and Godspeed. Maybe don't lick toilet covers or strangers or the handrail on the subway, and everybody will be as fine as we can expect.
I don't think you should lick strangers no matter what. That just sounds bad.
Oh, I wouldn't lick them if they were covered in honey.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't. I have even before COVID, I had a thing about, like, don't, like, kiss or touch people of any kind of way intimately prior to knowing them, regardless if there was COVID or not. Because you can still get
the monkeypox going around.
Oh, God.
You know.
Oh, my God, yes. The monkeypox makes everyone look like this creature that showed up on Orville, if you've ever seen that show.
Yeah. Comparison.
We're so nice to have you on the show, Tristan.
Thank you so much for having me.